say, what's that? It's Pat.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Patrick Argiro, aka Cousin Pat, and I'm here with Angela Haley Harris. I hope I said that right.
You did.
Okay, Angela
Yes.
is a mother, a registered nurse, I believe, and the wife
Yes.
of a UFC fighter, Walt Harris. And unfortunately, the mother of a child that was taken too soon from us, and she is now on a crusade to help other mothers and other families. So welcome, Angela. How are you?
Thank you. I'm just hanging in there, basically. I can't say that I'm really okay. There's a lot going on right now. I had Aniah on my birthday, and our birthday's Tuesday, so I'm not doing too good.
As a therapist, I shouldn't have said how are you. I should have said how are you today, because every day is a little bit different. So that's my fault, and I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Before we get started, because this made national news, and I think what you're doing is really great, trying to make sure this doesn't happen again. Because if you think about it, what happened is kind of crazy, that these people can get out of jail and then just roam around with other people. That really bothers me. It bothers me on so many levels. The one that the not to make this about this, but the pedophile thing bothers me a lot. That they can get out and just do it again and again. So before we start, why don't you tell me about your daughter? Tell me about Aniah. Did I say her name right? Aniah?
Yes, Aniah.
Yeah.
Aniah.
Tell me about her spirit.
There's so much. A beautiful spirit, a happy spirit. Aniah was always from a little girl, just happy, loved life. She loved life. She loved to make people happy. That was kind of her thing. She cared so much for other people, and she wanted to make sure they were happy and they were smiling, and that she always was doing things for them instead of herself. She put other people first.
That's great. That's great. And that's something she's always done, even when she was a little kid?
Always. Especially for me, for her mommy. She, like I say, we shared a birthday, June 20. We were basically like twins. And so she'd always make sure I was okay. I don't know. She was my best friend. And I know a lot of parents, say that or whatever, but she really, truly was my best friend. I mean, we had, I tried to be the parent, but also we just couldn't help it. We were just we were just in love with each other as mom and daughter. That's really how our relationship was.
And that's great, because not everybody has that. Not everybody has that. I know for a fact that there are people that don't have that. And I think it's totally okay for you to cry. I think that's important.
We had something very special, as a mom and daughter.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. And you probably, and I know I'm gonna say something that maybe sounds silly, but you probably think of her every day, every minute of every day.
Oh gosh. Every second, actually, every breath I take, it's with her. Yeah.
As a grief counselor, we study and we learn, and one of the questions that they say that you ask someone, but you can't ask them right away, because then the person will think you're insensitive or crazy. But it is a question that I've had to answer myself, is has anything positive come from this tragedy? And that's a question that therapists do ask, but you can't ask like 2 weeks later. You're going to think you're crazy. But can you say, obviously you want your baby, but can you say, if anything positive, that I know there's Aniah's law and I want to talk about that, but
Yes.
has anything positive come from this tragedy?
Absolutely. Aniah, a kidnapping and murder, has saved so many lives, because I started a nonprofit called Aniah's Heart.
Okay.
And so, self-defense. We have a search and recovery team, and we support families that have missing loved ones. And not even just the nonprofit and being the positive thing, just what happened to Aniah, how it happened to her, everything surrounding her, have saved so many lives. I get messages. I can't even keep up with messages that I get every single day. But someone tells me Aniah saved my life. Aniah saved my life. I think, I thought of Aniah when I was in this situation, and it saved my life. So, Aniah has saved so many lives by just what happened to her. And now the nonprofit that I started in her honor, in her memory, is doing so much. We're doing so many good things and so much good work in her name and her honor. I couldn't let it, and I wasn't going to let her death be for absolutely nothing, because that wasn't her, and it wasn't what she would have wanted either. And it's not something I want, or anybody that knew and I would want. So yeah, there's a lot of positive. It's like, I want my baby back, but I sit here and think about it, I'm like, we wouldn't have Aniah's law. We wouldn't have Aniah's heart. We wouldn't have these other things going on. And so it's hard. That's a hard thing to process.
Yeah. And you know what? Just thinking about it. I think I told you when we were chatting back on, I think it was Twitter or Instagram, that I lost my dad from COVID. And I'm very pissed. I mean, I'm dealing with it, but I get very upset about that because of how it occurred and what my thoughts are on that. But he was, I hate to say this about my own father, he was collateral damage in a bigger thing, where your daughter, someone took her life, and that's just, it's got to just be heart-wrenching as it is, obviously, and you're not just sitting back and doing nothing. You're fighting, you're trying to change the laws, and you're trying to move forward. And I think that's commendable and just incredible. So, and you know what? You taught me something. I was just talking to a woman earlier who had breast cancer, and she was teaching me about that they now have these 3D mammograms, so that I didn't know about. And now when I was watching an interview from you, I don't even know what it looks like, but apparently there's these things that I heard from you called a tile or tiles that they put in the purse. Explain what that is. Explain. I mean, I kind of get the concept. It's a GPS, but
it's a GPS tracker, and it's this little square, and they call them a tile. It's a little square piece. Then you can attach it to your keys or things that you might lose easily. You can attach it to it, and it'll help track it. And you download the app on your phone. And so I found out recently, people are always trying to keep me, because they know I'm doing the safety education. So they try to keep me, if they learn about something new that's going on, because, criminals are out there they're coming up with new stuff every day, tactics to use every day on how to kidnap, rob, just commit crimes in general. So the tile, I had not heard about it. And so when someone texted me and said, hey, have you heard that they're putting tiles in public and then they'll follow them home? And I said, I absolutely have not heard of that. I said, so I Googled it. And then I saw the stories of girls reporting, women have been reporting that. And so that's another reason I've been, on my safety education, I've been telling women, not to carry purses. And now there's one more reason why you shouldn't carry a purse at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to wrap my head around that, because that just sounds crazy. But that there are people doing this And I guess it's not illegal to have a tile because, like you said, you're putting it with your keys. But if you have a mind that's a little bit off, you'll always find something wrong to do with something, right? So something that was meant to help us,
Right.
now you take that and you got some idiots. I'm trying to be right because I'm a therapist, but at the same time, that's what these people are, idiots,
Right.
mentally whatever it may be, and they're taking it and then doing these horrible things. And I'm glad you're making people aware. So obviously, well, there's no assumption there. I know that your husband is probably supporting you 100% in this, and that's great, because I've talked to people.
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. It's hard during our grieving, and even though this is something that we know we're gonna spend our life doing, Aniah's heart, it's still hard. And it's a challenge every day to get up and face the day and go on and to be able to do it. So sometimes we struggle, and it's a slow go, but it's all coming together, and it's something that we'll be doing for the rest of our life.
Absolutely. I have this saying that I put on my Facebook page. Grief isn't something you do; it's something you go through, or something along those lines. It's a process. And you have to go through it. And what I found interesting is that you were, because I was watching some of the news clips just like everybody else, and in the courtroom that you had to hold your husband's hand, Walt's hand, because he just wanted to, and this isn't about your husband, that's very clear. But your husband is ranked number 8 UFC fighter. So if that guy wanted to jump the bounds, he could do it, and it would take a little bit to get him off. But he did that for you, right? You told him to just breathe, and that's what he did. Yeah. But that was a challenge for him, right?
Yeah.
As I think it would be for anybody.
And what as a man, it's different. Him as a man and me as a mom is different. So where I get what I'm thinking about when I'm there in the courtroom with this monster looking back at us laughing is I stare him straight in the eyes, and I'm like, you don't scare me, and I'm representing my daughter. Aniah's right here, and I'm not going anywhere. So you can just look at me all you want to, and I'm gonna look at you right back.
And that's what he was doing, right? He was looking at you.
He wants to intimidate, and he's not going to intimidate me. Yeah, you can't.
What?
He didn't understand.
I don't think he.
He thought he was going to be able to break me or break us or see us cry. No, we're fighting. We're fighting.
So I'm trying to keep up with everything when I have a guest. I'm trying to get all the information. So what is the latest on him? He's been convicted and he's in jail, or what's the situation on that?
He's been charged. Charged, and so the state has now taken over the case. Instead of it being in Lee County, the state has taken over the case. So it's going to be a long process because this is a huge case, and there's a lot that goes along with it. So when we will go to grand jury, of course, trial could be for years, but the most important thing is that it's being done right in the right way, and so it doesn't matter how long it takes as long as it's being done right, and everything's
so
going the way it's supposed to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So I saw you on the Dr. Phil show, and now there was 2 additional arrests, and I'm not sure if how to word this, but I think you stated something along the lines of you thought she was set up.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. That was still when Aniah was missing, and we still didn't have all. Yeah, we still didn't have all the information.
Okay. I understand that. Yeah. You seem to be a very good person, like you want the process done right. do you, do you feel that like these laws are just like stricter laws need to be in place? If somebody is should not be on bond for kidnapping and be able to come out, what changes would you like to see as far as with these
well, with Aniah's law, which went through the Senate, the House and the Senate unanimously in Alabama, which is a constitutional change in Alabama for this law, so it has to be voted on by the citizens November 2022. But the governor is signing it next week. She's signing the bill, so the day that it's voted on, and I know it will be, I know enough people will vote on it to make it. So the day that it is voted on, and enough people vote on it to make it, it will become a law that day. So the governor's going to go ahead and sign the bill next week, on the 24th of June. But yeah, I mean, what this is about is like, of course, everybody has you have the right of you're innocent until proven guilty, but you cannot just let these violent criminals keep getting away with violent offenses over and over again. Like, it just cannot happen anymore. I mean, and that's what, with Aniah's law, that's what's going to happen is, and a violent offense. If you committed a violent offense, it may be your first offense. It gives the judges, it gives the DA and the judges a lot more, like the DAs can call a hearing. You have that initial hearing when you're getting charged, and when the judge is, going to either set bond or not set bond, the DA can call another hearing and say, I need to give you the reasons why this person should not get a bond. And then the judge also has Aniah's law to fall back on to say, I can deny you bond. Because right now in the state of Alabama, capital murders,
I was just reviewing.
The judge can say no bond. So we're changing that. Yep. Aniah's law will change that, and it will keep these violent offenders in jail.
Now, Aniah's law, is that going to eventually? Okay, so it says more than 90 state lawmakers. So that's right now in the state of Alabama. But you would obviously, that'd be a great law to be passed in every state. I would think.
Yeah. I know. I'm not. I need to do some more research about which state, but I'm not sure. But I need to do research because we very well, could just go and make this a federal law. Make this.
Angela, I lost you.
Something that's.
Angela? I can't hear you or see you. Let's see if she gets back on. So I'm going to beat up my internet person. Now we have two Angelas on, but I think she just got back on. So let's see if she can join. We'll see. Oh, here we go. I think we got it. Angela's connecting to audio. So I think Angela can hear me now. Angela, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Angela, can you hear me now?
Sorry, I got a phone call. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Can you see me?
Okay.
There you are. All right. Can you hear me?
Back. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Not a big deal. So I just, I want to, tell you that I'm not a parent. So I couldn't even imagine. They say, they don't even have a word. So, for example, if your husband dies, you're a widow. If your wife dies, you're a widower. They don't even have a word for when your child dies because it's just so tragic and horrible that they just don't have a word for it. And I think what you're doing is just incredible. And I'm glad that, you know, you're moving forward. And I want you to know that I support you on this. And in July, I'm going to be doing a podcast with a young lady named Jill Nicolini. She's very well known in the New York area. Not everyone's heard of her, but if you saw her, you go, "Oh, I know her." And she gets a decent amount on her podcast. And I'm going to mention this, if that's okay with you, so that we can get it out there. And so that's great.
Right.
And yeah, because I think the more people that find out about this stuff, the better. Because I don't want to make this political. I think some of our laws are so. I don't think we have to be chopping off hands like they do in other states. I mean, other countries. You know, I heard of there's a country where if you get into a car accident, they like put you in jail. I've heard some crazy things. We don't have to go that route, but at the same time, we should be a little bit tougher on certain things. You know, and I've been watching.
Absolutely.
And another thing is when I see defense attorneys, I've watched some really terrible cases. I don't know if you must be familiar with the case of Casey Anthony.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Watched every minute of it. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Her attorney, like there should be an ethics committee for defense attorneys. You shouldn't just be able to say what you want just to put the doubt in the, like there should be proof of these things. And there's not. And I'm not sure what the lawyer that got this gentleman off, that he was able to walk the streets, or maybe it's just another case where the judge goes, okay, 100 bail, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's gotta change, and I think what you're doing is great. And so tell me about now what your day consists of. Now I believe you have other children, correct?
I do. I have a 22-year-old son, Elijah. He's a senior at Auburn University, where Aniah was murdered, kidnapped and murdered. They were there together. They didn't live together, but they were there together. They were just 17 months apart, and they were like twins. So
Like this,
she wanted
right?
to go where her brother was. So that's why she was living in Auburn. So he's still in Auburn. He's a senior. I have a son, Asa, who will be 15 on the 30th of June. And then I have a daughter. He is 8. And I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I lost my first son, Darian, in a car accident when he was 2. He would have been 26 this year.
I'm sorry for that. That's
a very traumatic car accident. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you in the car?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
So what?
So my car hydroplaned, and my car hydroplaned, and my tire blew out. My front tire blew out. My car went flying across the 4-lane highway, up a hill, and then upside down into a river.
So upside down.
The only way me and Darian come out upside down in a river, and yeah. So my thoughts, where the water filled up, the car filled up with water immediately. We're dead. You know, I'm drowning. We're dead. It's over. So I didn't know this till days later. The state trooper told me that, and when it did, that's why the car filled up with water immediately, and the car was bouncing up and down in the river from the flow of the river. And the only way that I come out of the car is the vacuum of the water and the car bouncing sucked me out. And it also sucked Darian out, but I didn't know that. I thought Darian was still in his car seat in the car. And so I'm screaming when I'm out of the water. All I see is the bottom part of my car, and I'm screaming, and I get up out of the river, and they pushed my car up out of the water, and Darian wasn't in there. It took 4 days to find Darian.
And this was how long ago?
1997. He was 2, and the accident happened on November the 1st, and he would have been 3 December 22nd. So people don't realize the trauma that I have been through in my life and losing 2 children and the way that I've lost 2 children.
Yeah, it is a tragedy, and just my heart goes out to you. Let me ask you this: are there any lessons you could teach other people? Not, I wouldn't say teach other people, but how did you get through that? Now, first of all, my I'm going to kill my internet company. But you said you had a 14. I went a little bit, but you said you had a 14-year-old daughter as well, or something.
No, I have a 14-year-old son.
Son, okay, because that's where it got a little squiggly. I wanted to get him in there. So,
and then an 8-year-old daughter.
An 8-year-old daughter. Okay. So, what did you do, or how did you? I can't say the word got over it, because you probably will never get over that, even with Darian.
Oh no.
But
I wasn't even over it. The day Aniah went missing, I was grieving still over Darian, and you know, it happened in '97. I was in the bed that morning when they called and told me that, my heart was break. You know, that morning I was grieving still over Darian when I got the phone call that they couldn't find Aniah.
And so, are you in? Is it? I'm going to just ask questions, and if it's too much, you just tell me. It's none of my concern. But are you in any type of group activity or therapy? I'm in therapy. And I'm a therapist. But what have you been doing to try to maybe? Obviously, the Aniah's law and doing that has got to be helping. Even probably helping you with the loss of your son, without you even realizing it. But what are you doing to try to, deal with all this grief?
Well, I'll say when I lost my son, I shut down, and I didn't do anything for probably 3 years. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to go to the grocery store. I did not want to do anything, so I didn't. And I got pregnant with my son Elijah, and I got pregnant with Aniah, and I still wasn't I was still grieving so hard, even when I had those two. They were very little. And then when Aniah was 6 weeks old, I told myself, I said, I have got to do something with myself. And so that helped a lot. And then I was a pediatric emergency room nurse for 18 years. And there, of course, I saw the worst of the worst traumas you could ever imagine in children. I saved lives. I saved so many children's lives. I helped so many families. That was what my way then of, it was therapy for me for losing Darian. But now with Aniah, I'm not getting, after losing Darian, I just felt like it wasn't working for me. But and now I don't see I have seen a therapist. There's really nothing they can help me with. I do see a trauma therapist, but that we can't even get to the core of helping me with my trauma, because I'm right in the middle of the trauma, and I'm not. It's so much going on with the case, and it being so fresh and new, and there's so much to it that we're just learning about each other. He's learning about me now. He's helping me, but he's just learning about me and my symptoms and what's happening with me.
Right.
It might be years before we get to the part of healing that trauma.
Oh no, it could take a very long time. But I think you're doing the right thing by at least doing that, taking the steps, and because if you think about it, you have other children, and Aniah was a big part of your life, and these children you have now, they need all of their mom, right? So, that's
right.
Good that you're doing that, because this way, you can, navigate with this loss, but still, be mommy and mom to these children. And so I think you're doing a great job. I'm sure, do you have a good support system as far as family and friends?
Gets me through. I have amazing family and friends, and my kids. My kids help me so much. They're great kids, and even though they're grieving and they're traumatized, they still help me.
Okay. So your son is in college, went to the same school where Aniah was murdered. So he's of age. So I have this question because I think as a brother, I would probably feel this. Does he, not to put him on a spot, but does he have some sort of guilt sometimes? Like if I was there, if I was with her, maybe if I, that's got to be a very normal thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and he was the last person to see her.
Yeah.
She had just dropped him off at his house because we had been to a funeral that day, and they had driven back to Auburn and went to the store, and that's when she was kidnapped.
Yeah, and I hope.
Yeah, he does. He's angry,
which is normal, and I just want pass this along, or if he watches this, it's not his fault at all. There's nothing he could have done, because there's that what if that's very big in grief. What if I did this? What if I did that?
Right.
What if? And you can't do that to yourself. You will do that to yourself. You will, but it's normal to do that. But at some point, you have to realize that there was nothing he could have done. That's just.
He's a very strong man. He's a very strong young man. He is. He's a very strong young man, and he's even though he has a lot of anger and he's grieving, he is really trying his hardest. He is trying his best. He is still in school. He's working. He actually works less than a mile away from where she was kidnapped. He is. He's focusing. His life is for his sister too, and that's what gets him through. Is we know that we are living for her now. We're not really even living for ourselves anymore. We're kind of just living for her, and
Well, I think that's beautiful, and so he's been helping out with getting the word out, and he helped out with Aniah's Law, and he's out there. That's great.
And he's the CFO of Aniah's Heart.
Tell me. Yeah. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. No, I interrupted you. So he's the CEO of Aniah's Heart?
He's the CFO.
CFO.
He's a business major. He's a business major, finance major. So he's the CFO of Aniah's Heart.
Okay, so that's good. So that's his passion. His sister is his passion.
Right.
And I think that's amazing. So you're going through life now, and what would you say? I guess the next goal is to try to just get this law to keep moving forward. Correct?
Right. Start campaigning, which we already have been doing here in Alabama. After the governor signs the bill next Thursday, I plan on, because it's not going to be on the ballot till 2022, but we've already gotten stickers printed up, and we're going to do T-shirts and just start letting everyone in the state know about it, which most of the people in the state do on it and campaign for it, for the law, and also more laws to come. That I'm not stopping with just that law. There's a lot of laws that need to be changed in Alabama, especially. Our Constitution is so old, and even not stopping at the state level, going up to the national level. I am going to do everything I can in every realm possible to do whatever I can to save lives and earth, and all in her name.
I think that's great, and that's the true definition of a mother's love right there. Is it? Tell me if this is true. Because I read it that your husband said he was going to retire, but then a dream or a conversation with Aniah told him to continue. If I'm misquoting, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, because he's been in training camp and he just had a fight, so there's a lot going on. But you know, she always was the one there along with me, but she was his biggest supporter as far as whenever he would be, because I worked a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I worked a lot. So him and Aniah, he was always there with the kids. He was, because he trained. He just had, you know, went to the gym every day, and then he was Mr. Mom. You know, he was there, the parent raising the kids. So
and they were very close.
Depressed or thought about quitting, and she just would not let him. You know, she would always tell him.
And
Oh, very. Oh, yeah.
Very
yeah.
close.
She was 3. Whenever, yeah, very close. They ran the household together, you know. But she was 3 and Elijah was 4 when Walt and I met. So he raised them, and now we have the 2 together. But oh no, they were close. That was his girl. I mean, that was his baby girl. There was never any other feeling other than that's little whenever we married and things. But no, very close. And he's having a very, very, very hard time. He doesn't deal with things the same way I do. We deal with things differently, and it's hard. But yeah, he said he had a dream to where, you know, he thought about, you know, or was retiring, and she was telling him not to. But that's because she always told him not to quit. She was always cheering for him, saying, you know, if he ever said, I'm going to quit, or maybe I should retire. No, it's not time, you know. So.
And, you know, I've gone through things, obviously not to this degree, but I found working out takes away the stress a little bit. So I'm sure him pounding on a bag and things like that, it's got to help him relieve a little. I mean, obviously the grief and it's here and it's here, right? It's in the heart, it's in the brain. But, you know, something to get that angst out just for that, you know, does that seem to help him or not really?
You know, he really doesn't tell me. He really doesn't tell me if that helps him or not. He doesn't say.
He's hurting a lot, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
He's hurting. And yeah, it's hard for him to express his feelings right now. And it may be a while before he can, because it's hard for him to even fake, you know, and he's not really he's living it, but he's not going through it. He's trying to go around it right now. And because there's just, some people do that. Some people try to avoid it and go around it. They're in it, they're living it, but they're not really going through it to feel that pain and to feel it. So, you know, right now it's just a different way that he's dealing. And I think we all are. I think, and when I say we all, you know, this is not just traumatizing to me and our immediate, Aniah's so traumatized. Her people that didn't even know her are traumatized, and there's so many people going through it, you know, are dealing with it, and we're all dealing with it in so many different ways. But I think that actually is good in a way, because we can help each other in different areas with it.
Absolutely.
Because it is so traumatic. It is so traumatic. You know, from her, the first minute she's gone miss, the first minute her roommate realizes, I can't find Aniah, you know, and then we can't find Aniah, and then those, you know, those initial days and weeks and then months of just of not knowing where she was, and then spending that whole month nonstop looking for her. We did not stop. My husband even had to call the ambulance one night. He couldn't eat. My mom had to call the ambulance for her one night. It was just, you know, and then finding out everything that we found out, and then finding out that she is gone, and then how she's gone, and who did it, and what, you know, just.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And then having to come home and tell our children, come home and tell our younger children, you know, what happened. We have to come home and tell Asa and Ayla, you know, we did come home and tell them, because I say when I come home, you know, we were 2 hours away in Auburn where she lived, and we lived 2 hours away from her, but we told them that Aniah was missing. And we waited though a week and a half, I think, before we even told them that she was missing. Her younger siblings, we kind of such a big news story, and then the kids are in school and the schools are talking about it, and everything. So they did protect our 8-year-old, but now our 14-year-old, we had to tell him a little bit earlier because, of course, people at school were talking about it. So then, having to come home and tell them, your sister's gone, that in itself too is everything that has to do with it is just so traumatizing.
Oh yeah, especially for little children. So how long after she went missing did the footage of her come about at the gas station? Was that right away, a week, months later?
So no, it was. So I'm the one who found out she was at the store. So had been missing for about 24 hours. And I was just sitting at, we've already been at the police station all day long. Now we're out searching, looking, and, for her car, doing everything we can. I was taking a break and I was sitting in the middle of the Walmart park with two of my friends, guy friends that were there helping us look. And I said, go log into her email. Cause I knew her email password. I had set it up for her whenever she was, of age to have an email. And I said, just look at her email. Let's see if there's anything in there. And there was a Venmo purchase at the Chevron at 11/21 for $2.17. And I called the police immediately. And that was on October 23rd. I said, she was at the Chevron at 11/21. She swiped her.
So you found that
She was there. Well, I found that. And so it took the police about a week, though, to get the footage.
I think she got Angela got another call. I'm speaking with Angela Haley Harris, whose daughter Aniah was murdered, and there's a foundation called Anayas Heart, and there's a law that they're still working on called Anayas Law. That allows prosecutors and judges to have broader discretion in requesting and denying bail to those accused of committing violent crimes. So apparently the governor is going to be signing this law next week in the state of Alabama, and then it might not be approved until 2022. That's the thing about these podcasts, though, and cell phones and things. You drop, right? The people drop. So it looks like she dropped, but let's see if she gets back on. She's trying to get back on, and that's fine. She's I think a very brave woman, and I think the loss of two children.
So sorry.
No, it's okay.
My son keeps calling me.
It's okay when you drop. I just continue. I'm just continuing. I'm educating them on Aniah's law and about Aniah's heart. And I figured you'd get back on. So that's the thing about these podcasts, the internet. They drop. It's fine. Oh, you can't hear me?
Okay.
How about now? No? Oh, why don't you, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
I'm trying to do my version of sign language. I hear you.
Loud, but I can hear you.
Okay, great. No, I was just educating, people on, while you were getting back on, I figured you'd get back on, about Aniah's law and just kind of reviewing that, and then Aniah's heart. So it's not a big deal. That's what happens with this technology.
The volume, I can't hear you. It's low. The volume's low. See if you can turn it up a little bit.
Okay, hold on one second. Let's see if we can turn this up. How about now? I'm screaming. One second. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I'll talk real loud. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm screaming.
Okay.
But we'll wrap it up soon too anyway. So is there anything I guess this is a question I'm assuming, has the how this is a dumb question. I hate asking dumb questions, but I'm assuming the MMA community has rallied around you guys, have been great and shown support.
Yeah, I can't really hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay, you can't hear me at all?
A little bit.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll wrap this up. We'll wrap it up. Can you hear me now?
Still the same.
Hold on 1 second. Let me try something else here. There's a thing here. See if there's a ding 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 ding. This is very. Let me try this. All right, I'm gonna. How about now? Can you hear me now? No?
I can hear you a little bit, but it's not loud at all.
Okay, I'm gonna scream. How about this? I'm gonna scream. I want to thank you. Oh. Hello? No? Well, Angela, it's okay. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you. I'm writing thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to thank you for your time. And can you hear me now or no?
You're welcome.
And
A little. It's still
okay.
not good.
Well, we're gonna wrap things up because it's not good. And I'm gonna share this information, and I'm gonna put your Instagram and Twitter in the description.
Okay.
All right, but thank you so much. You're a very brave woman.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. And good luck with everything. And I'm sure Aniah is very proud of you. So you're doing a great thing. And I think a lot of mothers owe you a debt of gratitude. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, you take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.